Welcome, folks. Today I'm going to talk to you about something somewhat biblical, but not much. It's more of a personal situation for me anyway. But I wanted to share this with you. I'm still trying to get things set up. Here we go. So I wanted to share something with you. I'm calling this video Today's Apathy. And we'll circle back to the apathy part, but I want to tell you a little story. So I retired back in 2021. And when I retired, I said, I just want to go to a place that's affordable, doesn't have much, upkeep to it, and in the sun, had to be in the sunny area, and a place where, people my age, there was a lot of activities and stuff. So I started looking into it, and well, there's apartments and there's condos and then there's mobile homes. Excuse me. And so I chose to do the mobile home thing. So now, since 2021, I have moved 4 times. The first part, now understand one thing about mobile home parks in Yuma, Arizona. Okay. 2/3 of the people that are in these are snowbirds. These are people that come from the north and come down to Arizona for the wintertime, get away from all the snow and the cold and stuff like that. So they come down here to Arizona for 6 months and, get out of the cold. So, but I went to this because there was a lot of activities and stuff. So when I retired the first year, while I was living at the first place, okay, was just fine. And all of a sudden, and the snowbirds weren't there. This was like between April and November, because they don't show up. They start coming in right around the 1st of November, and they leave towards the end of March. So my first part of it was experiencing no snowbirds, and there was probably only 44 residents out of a place that had, let's say, 2,000 spaces. So there wasn't many people there. On my block, there was only one other couple that lived like 10 doors down, and on the back, another guy on the other street behind me, about 4 or 5 doors down. And so just out of the blue, so I have a patio that's all screened in, and I made it my little man cave. I had a little bar out there, and I kept my 2 big screens out there and some seating and stuff. And, that's where I, would spend the summer if I was going to watch TV, especially, when football season started in September. I mean, we were out there watching games and having food and having a good time. Well, evidently, somebody kept complaining to the management that my TV was too loud. And my friends were like, what are they talking about? Your TV's too loud. There's nobody around here. So it had to be somebody that drove by. So we even put it to the test. We, about 3 or 4 of us, we turned the TV all the way up to the max, and we walked around the block. And as we walked about 2 houses down, we couldn't hear anything. And even when we did hear anything, it's a TV, folks. Do you know how much power a TV has? It's got like none. We're talking about 5, maybe 10 watts max. You're not talking about hearing it all over the block. So anyway, so we walked all the way around the block, and around that block, especially on the other side, we didn't hear anything on the other block. So that eliminates the guy that lived behind me a few doors down. Okay, so the management came over and warned me again that I have to turn the TV down, and I probably wouldn't be able to watch TV out of my patio, which many others have TVs and radios and stuff out in their patio. So it was a personal attack. And so I got my attorney involved, and he pretty much shut that down because he asked them to validate the complaint and they couldn't validate it. And so that went away. But I kind of felt like, you know, it was a battle that I didn't want to get into because, you know, let's say the year ends and you got to pay, you know, your next year's dues. Well, they don't have to accept it, and then you got to move. And now you got to try to sell your place, move, and so forth. So I decided I didn't want to fight that battle. I later found out that it was a woman that was there that I wouldn't go to bed with, and she was making erroneous complaints against me. So I moved out, went to another place, sold that place, went out, moved to another place. So again, I had to get an attorney involved in the first place. Now we're at the second place, and I was working on my sewage line, putting in a new sewage line, and one day I had to use the showers. Well, they were in between management and had fired pretty much all of their employees, and so there wasn't a whole lot of cleaning going on in there. Well, so I had to use the shower, and I contracted MRSA. In other words, it's also known as MRSA. It's a very, very highly, what would you say it? Flesh-eating bacteria. And so I ended up having to have a toe amputated. Okay. Well, that's not my fault. I mean, it was the park's fault for not cleaning it right and not having people, hiring people to get in there and get that done. So I ended up filing a lawsuit against them. And so the attorney called me and we talked, and we ended up settling the case. But the one point that was in the settlement agreement was that I would have to move out. Okay. So I sell my place. I move out to place number 3. And gosh, what was it about? This was like in April of 2024. And then by that next April 2024, by the time November hit of 2024, found out that they were going to build a large immigrant worker housing project next door. We're talking about 1,500 people. So it literally takes it eliminates being in a quiet 55 retirement community with 1,500 people there. I'll get into specifics, but let's just say it was going to be a headache because they're going to run 33 buses at 2 to 5 in the morning, picking these people up. And I mean, we're talking about 10, 20 feet away from the backs of people's mobile home. So we're talking there's going to be a lot of noise going on between 2 and 5. And so I decided to sell my place and move. Now, the problem that I had was because I had to do like a owner finance with this particular thing, a sales contract that was about a 3-year contract. And so I didn't own it all the way. Well, the guy who owns the park also was carrying the lien on this mobile home. He wouldn't allow me to sell the mobile home until it was completely paid off. Now, this is against Arizona state code. Okay, it's against the law. They can't do that. So I either move and I lose my money, or I can't sell it and I have to stay next door. Well, I'm not staying there with what's going on next door. So I filed a lawsuit against them. Okay, folks, this was also all I was asking for was $3,500 back. That's all I was asking for. I made improvements. I spent probably six grand improving and upgrading the place. I had one of the nicest places in there. Okay, and I'd already paid him $4,200 towards the house to pay it off. So all I was asking for was $3,500, and he wouldn't do it. So I put in a lawsuit for small claims for $3,500. Well, his attorney came around, appeared, and then paid the money and took the case to the Superior Court, where he filed the motion. Well, to dismiss. Well, one thing led to another, and a lot of crap happened during this thing. The judge wasn't going to approve anything for me. She was totally against me from day one, and she made a lot of errors, crucial, critical, bad judgment, bad errors. So we end up, right now we're in the Court of Appeals, where we expect a reversal on these and expect to win this case at some point. So now I moved from there, and I moved into a HUD Section 202, which is a senior community apartment building. Okay. Now there are certain HUD restrictions that the property owners and management have to follow, and they weren't following a lot of these HUD procedures, and I called them out on it. Well, they had a problem with that, and they started denying me some of my reasonable accommodations. Now, understand that when you place a request for a reasonable accommodation, it's not a suggestion. If it's legal and it's they have to do it. And when a doctor signs it, it's a must. They overrode the doctor and said that it didn't apply. Anyway, so they weren't going through all the procedures the way they were supposed to. So I kept giving a chance, kept giving them a chance, and now they've started to retaliate against me. And they've been doing this for the last seven months or so. And so now I filed a lawsuit against them. And here we come down to the problem. So now I've got these two lawsuits out there. Okay. I'm looking for a place to move because I feel locked up in this place. I can't move without somebody saying something or doing something to retaliate or complain or something. I mean, there was one time I was in my apartment and I was listening to music at a relatively, I don't have a big stereo. I mean, it's like 40 watt, TV system, little sound bar and stuff. And I don't even have the bass turned up. It's at 0. But I was listening to music and nobody complained but the manager, who's retaliating against me. So now I'm trying to move out of here, and I put in an application for a place in Nevada. And she called me the other day and told me that my previous managers both said, well, let's just say she called up the place I'm living at now, and she told this lady that was verifying my residency that not only my payment was on time, no complaints, but she told her that I have a lawsuit against them, and that I have 2 cats in which I'm trying to force them to walk with them outside without a leash, and I didn't drive, and all this personal stuff. Folks, it's not only illegal to do that just for regular private, but this is HUD, and these are protective activities. They're not allowed to do that. So because of that, this manager that was trying to approve my application denied me. Now, what ends up happening is because of the lawsuits, and she was just flabbergasted over it. Like, she couldn't believe that somebody would actually put a lawsuit out there and that she wouldn't do anything like that. She would just move on and let it go and blah, blah, blah. We're going to circle back here now, folks. And we're going to get back to that apathy. Folks, you wonder why this country is weak right now, it's because of people like that, that a lot of people allow others to walk all over them, be that carpet, that welcome mat, and that rag that's laying on the ground, and they allow people to step on them, walk on them, push them around, cheat them, whatever. Okay, and I'm going to tell you this: it's not right. And if we all stepped up and pushed back for people that are breaking the law and doing wrong to others, screwing people around, screwing around with their lives and their well-being and their health, we should all be pushing back. Okay, and if it means go to court, that's fine. Now, some of you are going to say, well, Brother Greg, doesn't the Bible tell us that we're not supposed to be taking people to court? I'm like, well, it says that, but guess what else it says? That's against brother against sister, sister against brother, Christians against Christian. But the Bible also says that you got to give people a chance to make it right. Okay? Go to them before 2 or 3 witnesses, right? You're giving them the chance to admit they're wrong and make things right. But when they're not willing to do that, folks, I can understand if it caused no harm to me whatsoever, but it's costing me money, and it's costing me my health. And when it comes down to that, it's you have to push back, because you can't just keep. I'm retired. You can't just keep losing and losing and losing. My first place that I lived in, I owned it, I made it this little oasis. I called O'Neill Island. It was beautiful. Everything was like brand new. It was a beautiful place. I owned everything, and I had money in the bank. Now, because every time I've had to go through this, I've lost money. Now I don't have anything. And that's why I have these suits, because I'm not going to allow people to walk on me and take from me without any pushback. The apathy in this country is so pathetic. And then we wonder why is this happening? Why do we have these leaders? Why is this? Why is there all this crime? Why are there all of that? Because nobody's pushing back against it. And you have to. You can't just allow people to walk over. You can't just allow people to walk through your front door and take whatever they want, because that's basically what they're doing. Well, you're not taking away my rights. You're not taking away my freedom. You're not taking away my bank account. Now, you've done that, but I'm going to get it back. And I'm telling you now, and I'm using this as a word of encouragement, don't be that doormat. Step up, stand up straight, pray, be that child of God, and let the power of God work through you, that you don't allow the enemy to take what's yours and what's rightfully yours. Moses and then Aaron did that when God promised them the land of milk and honey. Hey, Moses was taken away, but guess who? Somebody had to fight those giants in the land, and they had to go and take it by force, because God promised them that. God has promised us stuff, and He's blessed us. Don't allow the enemy to steal, rob, and destroy what God has given you. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't be like the world and be this apathetic, weak vessel. Be a strong vessel. Be right with God. Be kind and gentle, and do those things that are right. Don't be cussing people out and threatening people. That's not the way to handle it. That you can be strong in your ways and God's ways, and God will bless you. But you have to stand up for your blessings and be able to push back. And that's why this country is where it's at. The apathy is just pathetic to me. And I just pray that you, as a Christian, and if you're not a Christian, become a Christian. Don't let the enemy walk on you. Use him as that as that footstool, that he is underneath you, and his fate has already been determined. And if you're saved, your fate's been determined too. But while we're here on earth, don't allow him to use anybody else to rob, steal, and destroy what's yours. Have a wonderful and blessed day.